So-called pro-life GOP lawmakers in the House decided to vote against legislation that would actually help people who are grappling with the baby formula shortage in the country as we speak. Now, we talked about that baby formula shortage. We explained why it's happening. Abbott, which is a corporation that makes Similac and other baby formulas, decided to invest its profits into corporate stock buybacks instead of fixing some of their machinery, which was allowing for bacteria to get into the baby formula. So that tainted baby formula ended up making babies sick, 2 of whom died as a result, and it led to a massive recall and a shutdown of its Sturgis plant. Now, there are efforts underway by Democrats in Congress and by the Biden administration to do something, emergency efforts to ensure that parents who have babies have access to baby formula, especially if they're unable to breastfeed or provide any other type of nutrients for their kids. And so the House voted 414-9 to approve a measure that would allow more formula to be purchased with money from a federal program that aids low-income women, infants, and children. So what they're referring to there is the WIC program. And the WIC program relies heavily on Abbott specifically for baby formula for mothers. And so this is supposed to essentially help change that so other baby formulas are accessible to women who are in need of WIC or on the WIC program. Now, the no votes, this is important, the people who voted no, cast by GOP representatives Andy Biggs, Lauren Boebert, Thomas Massey, Clay Higgins, Matt Gaetz, Chip Roy, Paul Gosar, Louis Gohmert, and Marjorie Greene. The bill now goes for a vote in the Senate. Hopefully no one blocks it there, but you never know. But I named those Republican lawmakers because notably, some of them have been vociferous in trying to destroy and dismantle reproductive rights for women in this country under the guise of we want to protect babies' lives. Proof is in the pudding, ladies and gentlemen. They don't care about lives. They care about control. They care about power. That's what the abortion debate is really about. But they also voted no on another piece of legislation related to the baby formula issue. Before I get to that, Cenk, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, so that's basically dark MAGA right there. That's a new term that Madison Cawthorn came up with after losing the election. But these are the worst of the worst. And so not surprising to see those 9 names on there. But to me, one of the most interesting parts is all of these guys, all the Republicans, including those guys, out there doing talking points about the shortage right before the bill. And we covered it. It's been the last week or so. They're all out there going, "Can you believe Biden isn't doing anything? The Democrats aren't doing anything. This is an America first. Oh my God, the babies." And so the Democrats go, "Okay, great. We'll pass these 2 bills and then we'll get them aid and benefit as soon as we can." And they go, "No, I don't want it."
Of course.
Wait, what happened? I thought you wanted them to do something. And this is 2 things that would directly help. Well, no, I don't want to help Democrats. I'd rather have the babies die than help Democrats. Oh, okay, then at least you're clear on it. There's no reason not to vote for that bill. You can tell, by the way, the Republicans that voted yes, it's not like they're softies. It's not like they're liberals, okay? The Republicans that voted yes are also super right wing. But these lunatic 9 came in and they're like, "Oh no, we were just having fun. We were criticizing Biden and Democrats, even though we obviously didn't mean it. The minute they actually did something positive, we don't ever want to do anything positive. We hate the idea of helping Americans, so we voted no."
By the way, Abbott formula products serve 89% of the million-plus infants that are currently covered by WIC. So it's essential. They got a government contract, basically. Abbott got a government contract to provide baby formula for the WIC program. In exchange, they got all sorts of goodies, including increased shelf space at supermarkets. Those shelves are now notably empty because Abbott decided to invest its money into enriching themselves instead of fixing their broken machinery to ensure that the baby formula is safe.
By the way, that would have been a legitimate reason to criticize that bill. Why are we giving Abbott goodies? They're the ones who caused the problem in the first place. They tried to avoid regulations, and then because of that, they had safety problems, and their baby formula killed 2 babies. But do you see any of the hard right-wing Republicans talking about this son of a bitch company killed babies? You see, this is the corporations that are evil and problematic. No, they're like, "Oh, Disney likes gay people and black people. Disney's the problem." These guys kill babies. You guys are supposed to be pro-life. No, shh. Don't talk about the real problem.
But as you know, Cenk, profits over people, including babies, the Republican Party has made it abundantly clear that's what their priorities are. And increasingly, we're seeing that with Democratic lawmakers as well, although not in this case. Democrats are on the right side in this case. And to be fair, the bill that I just told you about, the majority of Republican lawmakers are on the right side on that issue. Now, there's a second House bill that also passed, but it was far more partisan in this case, and it would allocate additional funding to ensure that the FDA has enough employees to oversee the baby formula, make sure that it's okay for distribution across the country, because we're now importing baby formula from other countries, and the FDA needs to have the manpower necessary to monitor it and make sure it's safe before it gets onto supermarket shelves. So as NBC News reports, in a more partisan 231 to 192 vote, the House passed a bill that would send 28 million to the Food and Drug Administration to help boost formula supply and prevent future shortages. Only 12 Republicans voted in favor of that measure, only 12. And I can name those 12 Republicans because they deserve credit for voting in favor of it. Now, keep in mind, by the way, Cenk, you don't need any Republicans in the House to vote in favor of either piece of legislation. So just going back to the first piece of legislation that we were talking about, those 9 Republicans, they knew it was gonna pass anyway. And so to at least appear consistent with their pro-life nonsense, they could have just voted yes or voted present, knowing full well that even if they voted no, it's gonna pass in the House anyway. They couldn't even do that.
No, there isn't a single bill that those guys would vote yes on, because they hate Democrats and they don't care about the country. They don't care about their voters at all. Oh, you can't feed your baby. I hate Democrats way more than I like your baby. That's basically Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Greene's slogans. So now, why did most of the Republicans vote no on the other bill? Well, they wanted to be able to say that they did something about the baby shortage, so they vote yes on one of the bills. But they also want to say that they oppose the Biden administration, so they vote no on the second bill. So how did they choose which one? Oh, which one's more effective? No. The second one, it proves more inspectors for the FDA, so that number one, we can speed up the number of the baby food that's coming into the country, because you need to inspect it, so that would directly help. So that's the reason you need it, but you also need it so that we didn't have the original problem where they avoided FDA regulation and poisoned a couple of babies, right? But the Republicans don't want businesses regulated. They don't mind the dead babies as long as their beloved corporations are untouched. They're like, oh, inspect so that they don't kill babies? No way, that's a corporation. We love corporations. Under no circumstances will we ever hold them accountable. And that's why they voted no. And that is the great majority of the Republican Party.
That's right, the great majority of the Republican Party. And I want you all to remember that. I mean, our audience, our regular audience is already fully informed, already knows that the Republican Party consists of representatives and senators who claim that they care about saving lives, when in reality, it's nothing more than a political ploy. In the case of reproductive rights. But when it comes to bread and butter issues, when it comes to legislation that would actually save viable human lives outside the womb, they're never for it. They're always in favor of placing priority for profits over people, always. We see it over and over again.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.